So John Featherston announced briefly that he was going to throw his hat in the ring for Senate, for John Kerry's vacated Senate seat. But now apparently he's withdrawn and he's supporting a gentleman by the name of Sullivan. I personally don't know of him. Can you tell us a little bit about Sullivan?
Michael Sullivan lives in Abington, and he's held a number of positions in the government. He was a state rep for 2 terms. He was the Plymouth County District Attorney. He was a U.S. Attorney. He was also an acting director for alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives a few years ago under the Bush administration. And he currently works in a law firm. He's a partner in a law firm. He would make a great candidate. It's interesting, I've actually been out helping him obtain the 10,000 certified signatures he needs to be on the primary ballot. And I was surprised at the number of people who are familiar with him and familiar with his work, and generally, actually I've heard no negative comments, just the opposite. Oh, he's a fine man, he'd make a great senator. So pretty excited about helping Michael Sullivan become our next United States Senator.
Great. And is this the where people can put their signature?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
And it's any voter in the Commonwealth that is either registered as a Republican or registered unenrolled. Democrats and Green Party, Communist Party, etc. Can't sign just because of Michael's political affiliation. It's not that we don't like Democrats, it's just those are the rules.
So if you're a Republican or an independent, feel free to stop down here at the Ashland newsstand to sign the petition for Mr. Sullivan.
I only have about 50 of these sheets, so come on down and fill them up.
Okay, great. Okay. In certain parties in Milford are lobbying to try to build a casino there. Do you support state-run gambling? Are you against it? Where do you stand on gambling in general?
Well, my problem with gambling, and this includes the lottery, is that if you look at the demographics of who buys lottery tickets, who does gamble, it's generally the people who can afford it the least. So if you look at the average wage and or average income in a given town, towns like Dover and Sherburne and Wellesley, for instance, have fairly low lottery participation, whereas you go to towns that have a less affluent population, they buy a lot of lottery tickets. I don't know how many times I've gone to the Ashland Wine and Spirits to cash in my bottles and Cokes, and I'll spend $1 or $2 on Megabucks or Powerball for my cans and bottles, but I see people that plunk down $50, $100, $200 for tickets, and and you look at them and they don't look like somebody who can afford to put that kind of money on something like that. So my concern is that it's like a tax. It's certainly voluntary, but it tends to hit the people with less income, and that's my problem with it. Now the other part of having a casino, it tends to draw other things. When the Indians down in Connecticut built the Foxwoods and the Hegan Sun, they're out there kind of in the sticks a little bit, and it's a different kind of a situation. But in the area here in Metro West, Milford, Framingham, Ashland, Hopkinton, Milford's not that far. It's maybe a 15-minute drive from here, and I don't know. I guess I just feel like Ashland would get some of the negative parts of it and none of the good parts of having a casino literally a 15-minute drive away.
Right. I know that usually things like prostitution, drug use, drug dealing increase when casinos are opened up in an area. I remember when I was a kid, there was no gambling in Massachusetts, and then they came out with Megabucks, and the people who supported Megabucks were saying, it'll only be this one thing, and it'll raise money for schools and this and that. It's progressed from that to, like you said, people spending hundreds of dollars a day on scratch tickets, a number of different numbers games, and and now casinos. I'm sort of at a loss. Do you have any theories on how things could have gone from that to from two different extremes, you can say?
Well, it's very simple. You get hooked on the money. The people that run the state get hooked on all the money that comes in from the lottery. Massachusetts has one of the most successful lotteries in the United States, and it's fairly well run, very profitable for the state, and in one sense the money does a lot of good. It is a source of a lot of local aid, and in that sense it's good, but again, it's coming off the backs of people, I think, who can least afford to pay. Now, I'm not a big tax the rich to the maximum guy either. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. But that's my problem. And of course, when you have things like going to your store and scratch a ticket. The Keno that's in a lot of restaurants and bars. And I'm okay with that to a point, but how many people have ruined their lives by literally buying thousands of dollars worth of tickets and playing Keno? I suppose they spend their money some other place with the illegal bookie, so that's another way to look at it.
I know down in Lincoln Woods down in Rhode Island, people go there and gamble away everything they own, basically. They even have banks inside the casino where people can mortgage their houses. And there have been a number of incidents where people have lost everything and basically gone out to the parking garage and jumped off. And those things don't seem to make the newspaper down there. They don't make the news around here. We'll try to cover that at Ashland News if this casino becomes a reality in Milford. But I guess that's not really a question, that's more of a comment.
Well, I guess you need to think, are you willing to trade a level of jobs and revenue for the state that would be turned into, some of it will go to schools and roads, but some of it goes to run other crazy things that the government pays for.
We've had an issue in Ashland. I'm just going to cut to the chase. We had a town manager who did an end run around the Board of Selectmen and coordinated with union police to write a report, which now, come to find out, makes a lot of baseless accusations against the chief. Do you think police unions in Massachusetts usurp the rightful authority of the local chiefs?
Well, I think the position of police unions is legislated, and for that matter, it's agreed. There's a contract in place. It's easy for, I think, some police officers to take advantage of that, and that's true of whether it's a police officer or a teamster that's driving a truck. There are people that take advantage of the situation for their own benefit. And police are no different than anyone else. Police, fire. I know we've had a lot of interesting things here in Ashland and frustrating things. I know Scott Romer, and he's a very fine man. And I've also met some of the other police officers that have made allegations against him. A couple of them I've known since they were very young. I believe they're pretty good guys too, but I don't know what all of the differences are. I don't know what all of the internal issues are, because a lot of them, I think, are just not in the public,
right.
For a number of reasons. They're people who have rights. Although it does seem that everything about the police chief is on the front page, and some of the things these other guys have allegedly done don't seem to be.
What do you
So,
think the reasoning is for that, for the one-sided reporting in the local Metro West newspaper?
Well, realize that any newspaper is out to sell newspapers. So they're going to take the, I guess, the big story, the story that will hit the front page and be most interesting for people to read. The other part of it is, I think Chief Romer is a more professional person.